On the last episode of this channel, we released our first guide, got dismantled by Reddit, cried deeply into our pillow. We then entered the hyperbolic time chamber and spent 7 years training to get good. Now we're back, bigger, stronger, and shorter. Hello YouTubeverse, it's me Buxbunny and I am back with another guide that no one asked me to make. So you told me you wanted a shorter guide and I have obliged, so without further ado, away we go. Knock down the boss like a boss. DPS and soul sap. Knock down again. Final boss. DPS some baby more. Boss. Repeat the cycle. Don't wipe your team like a female dog. Okay, all jokes aside, let's move on to the guide. First, the prerequisites. The latest patch, there's been a couple of new changes. One thing I've noticed this patch is to now do the weekly, you need to complete Fate of the Aransu Chapter 4. Grab it by pressing J, go into the quest letter tab and picking it up. It will then be in progress, so go speak to Jung Heido in Zyway to kick it off, and when you finish chapter 4, you'll be able to get your weekly once again. The next thing you want to do before you enter is spec your knockdowns. Press K for your skills, go to the knockdown category on the left, uncheck trainable skills, and you'll now have a list of all skills that will knock down. Make sure you equip the right one if you're given a choice. Let's talk about mechanics. The first person you'll meet is the third mini-boss from Temple of Illuvium, or VT for short. This is a super simplified version, so all you have to do is kill the ads when they are up, and then focus the boss. When the ads are up, you do 0 damage to the boss despite the numbers you see, so don't waste your time. Kill the ads fast. See? Super dumb. The actual boss is the second boss from VT, only he has much more simpler mechanics. He's so easy, I don't understand why people insist on wiping me here. Once you engage the boss, everyone in the party will receive a debuff which will have a 1 minute timer. If the timer reaches 0, then you will instantly be killed despite your health. To prevent this, you need to knock down the boss once the CC bars become open, which is usually after a punishment. Don't rely on anyone else here. Use as many knockdowns as you can, because if you fail, death awaits you. Once you've successfully knocked down the boss, you'll be transported to the magical land of soul separation. Here you will get a new debuff countdown as well as a buff. The buff gives you AP and critical damage, but also adds a damage per second debuff. This will stack for every 20 seconds you remain in soul separation. You want to knock down again before the timer reaches 0 to avoid dying and potentially wiping your team. Outside of soul separation, you have your minute hellfire debuff pack, but additionally you'll have one more debuff to accompany it. This debuff prevents you from entering soul separation again for its 30 seconds duration. If you knock down with this debuff, everyone who has the debuff and is facing the boss will instantly die. Last thing to worry about is punishment. This is the large donut-like red AoEs that appear forming both an inner and outer circle in any order. You want to avoid getting hit by these as best as you can, as it's un-iframeable and getting hit means you will receive a debuff that makes you bleed for around 5k damage per tick for 30 seconds. If within those 30 seconds you're hit again, the bleed debuff will stack, dealing more damage over time. You can easily avoid these by moving out the way or with movement skills, or if you have high enough leech or regen or pots, you can just YOLO and heal through it. Punishment doesn't need to be avoided in soul separation as it cannot hit you, but what you want to avoid instead is the black circles that move around. They hit you for massive damage and daze you a little while after appearing. These are iframeable. If you die, just press 4, but you will not, because I have made this beautiful guide to show you the way. Let's talk about the boss's rotation. This boss has one of the most simpler attack patterns. He will start off with a shockwave combined with an AoE puddle that slows. He will then follow this up by a double slash and another shockwave. Next, he will do punishment, and immediately after his CC bars will be open. If you fail to CC, he will immediately follow up with another punishment, but he won't open CC bars. He will then go back to shockwave combined with AoE puddle and a very fast surprise attack punishment, which will be your next CC chance. After this, he will then go back to the start of his rotation. Let's talk about tips, baby. Each person needs roughly 25k damage per second for a total of 12 minutes to clear this boss, including mechanics. So asking for 1.1k for 800 AP content is overkill. Once you upgrade your weapons, grab a bracelet and maybe a badge depending on your class, hung moon skills and perfect your rotation, you should be well above 30k DPS. As you get more DPS, you will just complete the raid faster and faster until it takes a couple of minutes with high geared raids, sometimes seconds. Which leads me to my next tip. If you're trying to clear as fast as possible, then using your buffs and bursts during soul separation will complement the DPS buff you are given. Also, stay in soul separation as long as possible to stack the buff helps, but this is only if your team can be trusted to knock down. If your team knocks down and you don't want to go into soul sep, like when you have the aftermath debuff, then looking away from the boss will prevent you from being pulled in. I tried that in this clip, but I had some brain lag. There is a way to know which punishment would land first. If the boss has one hand in the air, it means the inner ring followed by the outer ring. If he has two hands in the air, then this will be the opposite, with the outer ring first, then the inner. On my range characters, I like to stay 8 to 9 meters away from the boss, especially with classes like summoners who don't have a lot of mobility, as I can just easily step in and out as needed to avoid punishment. But the main reason is because most bosses don't like range tanks. This guy in particular will stop his rotation and one-shot you if you pull aggro and you are too far. It seems counterintuitive, but you should be practicing to DPS the boss from melee range.
Someone wishes to join your party.
Last but not least, just like the mini-boss in Snowjade and many others, this mini-boss can be frozen in place by using a Force Master or Soul Fighter freeze skills while behind the boss with a tank and any other root skills. There's no real significance for this other than a neat trick that prevents the boss from moving and everyone is free to DPS. You've finished my training, so return back to your trap raids. So when Nappa and Vegeta see you, they'll be like, "Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level?" "It's over 9,000! Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, then power up that thumbs up button and subscribe for more content. Leave a comment below, as I love to know what you think. My Twitch and Twitter will also be linked in the description below. Feel free to cyberstalk me. What is raid? Baby, don't trap me. Don't trap me. No more. No more.